Hey, yeah, I'm here, but just barely.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll be able to stick around for the whole thing or not.
He's under the Zoom one. You just can't see him. It's not.
Hey, yeah, I'm here, but just barely. I don't know if I'll be able to stick around for the whole thing or not.
Yep, we got you.
I'll be able to stick around for the whole thing or not.
Is it just repeating it over and over again?
It sounds like it's stuck in a loop.
Yeah,
you got it. I'll be able to stick around for the whole thing or not.
Because you can't have the TV volume up because it'll just. I know. Go over and over again. Will you call Jason and tell him that it just loops when we have the TV volume on, which he can actually probably hear me right now, but.
You probably can, yeah.
Julie, you have both the ordinance resolutions.
Yeah, they're down these numbers here.
Just make sure we have the.
I'm kind of confused on what I'm doing.
Oh,
Hey, Jason.
we're gonna go by email. I have John's email, so we're gonna follow. It's parliamentary procedure.
Jason, are you there? Hey, we need to have our volume on because we're, we have one. And we have, well, when we turn it up, it keeps repeating itself. Chris Bloss kept saying, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stick out this entire meeting or not. So it's like it's in some kind of weird loop or something, so.
Now is the volume on the TV up?
Even if we turn it down, it continues to do it just quieter.
Yeah, even like, you know, like he said, even if he turns it down, it just keeps repeating itself, so. Yeah. Okay.
Now is the volume.
Even if we turn it down, it continues to do it just quieter.
Yeah, even like, you know, like he said, even if he turns it down, it just keeps repeating itself. So you're good, okay, then. Yeah, it looks like you're on it right now, so.
But if he turns that all the way down, we're not gonna be able to hear Bloss.
Oh. Cause we still need to hear Chris Bloss, that's a good point, and Dylan said, turn that all the way down, we're not gonna be able to hear Chris, but.
Right, it still
It's still looping.
jumps in a loop.
Okay,
Well, he said. Okay. Okay. Now try to
Hey, Chris,
adjust the volume on the TV.
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
are you able to hear us okay, Chris?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Hey, Chris.
It's still doing it.
Okay. Are you hearing me okay?
Can you guys not hear him?
I had to turn it, I had to mute the TV again because it got back in a loop, but we had it turned all the way down into the teens.
You did good, I don't.
Yeah.
Unmute the TV.
You mute the TV.
The TV's muted right now.
Just the assessed value, let's see, 430, because I think we had to raise it.
Okay.
So this is the ordinance, this is the resolution.
Right. So let's pass this in order to make that happen.
Hey, Chris,
Which Chris?
Bloss.
Yeah.
Oh, that's better now.
I think we might have it now. Cause he's not eating.
There we go.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
We got it.
I think we can, let's see, okay, thanks, Jason. But. Maybe is it
But now that means we're gonna hear own voices.
like,
Dave. Now you know at the end of December why I have to get off, because I just can't handle it. Technology is just too much for me anymore.
Well, you know,
It's one,
let's have a look at our fire station and look at the project there. You can put this, we've done everything we can, but we let him know that it's not,
I think it's,
like,
it's picking up.
yeah, it's playing our meeting out through this.
and it's delayed.
Yeah.
Right.
okay,
I said, going forward, it's mandatory that all town council be present.
this will be. Hey, Jason. Jason. Our voices are now feeding out through the little recording canister. If you can look at that, delayed, yeah.
Really delayed.
Really delayed.
That request.
Hey, Jason. It's now playing out through the little canister, the little recorder, and it's delayed. So like what I'm saying right now will play out probably in 20 seconds.
Never remember what that was.
Guess if we say they won't regret, we can quickly unplug it or something. We didn't have Chris Bloss remotely. We were Donnie. I think Donnie might even try to get on a little bit later. We would, just turn, yeah, we'd be fine.
Hey, Joe, what's the resolution number?
5,
Please take that.
and the ordinance is 5:20.
Is there something on the houses I cannot control?
No, it's just sitting there freely in the middle of the table. It is on its own pad.
Cool.
First was there. I'll ask Chris, if he has a problem jumping off, we got it more. He can send his vote in by a pigeon.
I can't vote remotely anyhow. If it's gonna cause problems, I'll just log off.
You can call someone's cell phone, we can just put on speaker. And
Well, I think we're good at the moment. Chris, can you still hear us?
Yeah, I hear you. I've heard you guys fine from the
Yeah.
beginning.
Cause that's good.
Yeah, that's
It's
not
been
repeating
delayed
itself.
long enough.
Okay.
That's just on, but that's just on his end. Oh, well.
Yeah, I've heard you guys fine from the beginning.
Well, I'll just call you on the phone, Chris,
Okay,
Yeah, call Chris on the cell. Thanks, Jason.
and Jason can look at this.
Yeah.
Something like. Call Chris Bloss.
Okay, well, as that gets set,
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's done, it's good.
okay.
So we're here to start with ordinance number 5, 2026.
Chris, you'll have to turn your computer off.
All the way.
Yeah, it echoes through the phone now.
Or at least mute it. Well,
Unplugged.
Yeah, that's good. We got it.
And
Okay.
so this is to begin the process for, this is an ordinance to increase the amount from 15,000 to 25,000. And that is per Indiana code. Chris, has John, other than just what he sent in the email, has he? I assume
I've not
that's,
seen anything saying, stating otherwise.
I assume that 15,000 has been in place for some time, and then we've had to raise it to accommodate the acquisition of.
Correct. Yeah,
That, right?
everything was involved with that.
You had a chance to look at it. And according to John, that this increases the statutory amount from 15,000 to 25,000. Because then the bid came in at 22,430, right? And so because of that, we have to increase the amount to be able to handle that.
And the point of the 25,000 was because of all the costs associated that we've had over the years for that property. And what the costs were for everything else, correct? That's what I'm understanding.
Yeah, but the 15,000 was the original part of the
The blight demolition.
blight package.
Yeah, well, the original purchase of the property and then the demolition of it, the house and the garage. And then, we had like title fees, we had to pay 6 months of property taxes because it was on a half year somehow. And there were a lot of things like that that got tied up in it. So, yeah.
Reclaiming the ground, we had to do that.
Correct, yeah.
So we have to approve that, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
then we
just
have to
suspend
suspend
it.
the rules because it's gonna be an adoption on first reading.
So I'll make the motion to suspend the rules to pass ordinance number 5, 2026 on first reading.
I second that.
So properly moved and seconded that we suspend the rules in order to approve ordinance number 5, 2026. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
It's my understanding I can't vote unless I'm physically present, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We did during COVID.
Yeah.
I think
I would say,
you can vote, like if you're on video, the way I understand it, if you're on video, you can be physically seen. I can look at, but not just over.
Business.
So now we gotta move to this one.
well, no, now we have to actually approve the ordinance.
Okay.
This did the suspension of the rules, so now the ordinance lays before us. That's to increase from 15 to 25,000.
So then I'll make the motion to approve ordinance number 5, 2026 as presented.
Second,
So properly moved and seconded that we approve ordinance 5/2026 as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Now that the ordinance is in place, according to John, that this is the resolution to send notice to the property owners at 152 North Perry, that because they appear to be the only qualifying abutting landowner, and then that way they can decide how to proceed forward, correct?
I think that's how I understand it.
Okay. It has a date on it, or something, there's like a blank. Says by 7 p.m.
oh yeah, by a deadline of 7 p.m. But they don't have a date. But it is 7 p.m. Deadline of, I guess, this date.
Today's date?
Well, I guess whatever we want to make the date of, and then so I'm trying to understand what this is. So Dave, you don't own the home, right?
So the date will affect it because in the next week to 10 days, it'll probably change hands into our possession.
So you have bought it.
Yeah, we've got a purchase agreement and a closing date tentatively for May 8th.
Okay,
So I guess it's what, 2 weeks?
so where did
And
this,
at that time, it will change hands.
Okay. so what is this date? What is this, where did this come from?
John.
Oh, this come from?
Yeah. In the email,
Okay,
I don't know if we need to call him, he says. We can call him.
Well, so this resolution is to show that obviously we are the owners of the property as it sits. The town is. The assessed value is 22,430. And that we as the town have determined that the highest and best use of the tract is sale to the abutting landowner. So this would get us around having to do any type of bidding or whatever to that. And that the cost to the public of maintaining the tract equals or exceeds the estimated fair market value of the tract. So in the sense that
and then.
there's no
Okay, and then
value in it.
we're offering it to the owner of 198 North Perry Street. We're offering it to them for $25,000.
Because they would be the only other eligible party.
Yeah.
Yes, so
Yes.
we are town as living officers or offers that are making the above determinations to the landowners or notice to the abutting landowners, publication of notice and appraisals.
So, okay, so we're offering it to the owner of the property of 198 North Perry for $25,000. Now we have a deadline of, Dave, you're gonna own it.
So isn't it, it's 152, isn't it? North Perry?
152 is the property owner that has the right to first refusal.
Mhm.
198, the actual tract.
Oh, okay, I understand. And I'm sorry, what was your question?
So you will own it when?
2 weeks.
Date.
The May 8th is the date for the closing one.
So I'm assuming that if we put like May 15th on this, that
Well, we could,
Dave would have to, then that would give Dave the opportunity to accept the offer price at 20, to buy it at 25,000 by May 15th at 7 o'clock.
Okay, well, this resolution has to be rewritten.
No, it's got where we write in the date. I don't think we can offer it for sale to him before he owns it. Because we're selling it to the person that owns the property. And Dave won't own the property for a couple of weeks.
I mean, I don't know how the current owner who did it before 2 weeks would feel about it, about all that. If I were him, I probably wouldn't want to, for 2 weeks, get into all that
Mhm.
for a 2 week time period, but,
wanna double check with John?
So what are you saying, Dave?
I'm saying, the current owner for the next couple of weeks, I don't know, if set a date where he had to
So
actually
we don't sign it
make a
incorrect,
decision on that, I'm not sure.
so that we don't sign
In
it
my
incorrect.
opinion, we're all within a 30-day time period, and that's not uncommon for anything real estate or closing related, or, I think we're.
So you're thinking the person that owns the house now will buy it?
Ah,
No, I'm thinking they wouldn't want to.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So I'm thinking a date prior to that would complicate things. for me.
Yeah, I think it should be after it. That's why I'm saying May 15th.
Yeah, if I were him, I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, me neither.
And April's winding down pretty quickly. I mean, we're almost done with April.
They don't.
it went to voicemail, so now I'm texting. I said, we need to talk to you, please. And he saw it.
So,
Here
the
you
way this sounds like it's going, if there was a little more time, that
Hello,
would be okay.
hold on. Okay, they have. Oh, didn't know you were in town. Okay, I don't.
Just finished.
Well, I didn't know it was here.
Yeah.
Here, you can talk to them.
John, all we need to know is there's an open line for the deadline at the very end of the resolution. What is our date for that line?
Well, I left that so you guys could bump it out to whatever you wanted to.
Okay.
I would say, we could do it,
May 15th?
yeah, we could say May 15 for, responses, and then we could take action in the June meeting. Hey, guys.
Yeah,
And John's email says we will then send a notice to Kevin and Mary Reed at 152 North Perry, as they appear to be the only qualifying abutting landowner. If Moore's closed on that property. I can't hear whoever's talking very well. Yeah.
So,
Because I'm on cell phone too, John.
so John, here's what we're asking. Dave's not gonna own, it looks like Dave is not gonna own the property until around May the 8th or 10th or somewhere around there.
Okay.
Okay, that's why we said we'd give him to the 15th to have the opportunity to accept the offer of the 25,000. Okay, well, you're saying here in your email, we gotta give notice to the owner of this, but we don't really want to give notice to the current owner because they're not gonna buy it. It's Dave that's gonna buy it in a couple weeks. You see what I'm saying?
I do, and what I told Dave was, he could have a purchase agreement with the current owner that says he's only buying the house if the lot comes with it. But Dave's not an abutting landowner yet.
That's
So
right.
I guess if the abutting landowner doesn't purchase it, then the town's free to negotiate with whoever, and then whether or not Dave buys it, if Dave's willing to pay the 25, then he could buy it at that point.
But then do we have to advertise it for sale if that happens that way?
I don't believe you have to advertise it to the general public because you're going through this abbreviated process where you just notify the abutting landowner. But then you're free at that point if the abutting landowner doesn't act, or the abutting landowners, but there's only one in this case. If they don't accept your offering price, then I think you're free to, and I think the statute says it in there, you're free to move forward and dispose of it as you see fit. It's down toward the end of the statute. Probably
Okay.
section H maybe.
So Dave wants to ask you a question. Dave Moore.
Hey, John. So, if it was tabled, if this resolution was tabled until the date past May the 8th, would that be possible? Would that clean things up from just having less moving parts? And is that okay to do that, or do you have to immediately?
That's fine. I guess from your perspective, you were concerned and you weren't sure if you wanted to buy it if you couldn't get the lot. I think the town is more than willing to sell you the lot at the price that's the offering price, but you're not an eligible buyer, at least right off the bat.
Right. So,
if you're willing to wait and, either close your transaction and say that you could either do one of two things. You can close your transaction and trust that the town's going to sell it to you and that you're willing to pay that price. And I'm sure they would if that's the situation. or you make that a contingency in your purchase agreement that these folk, that the current owners work with the town to purchase it, and then that you make that into your overall purchase agreement. So, does that make sense? You can move quicker that way, because then they would jump on the offer at the 25,000, and then they would just make that into your closing situation, if that makes sense, if you follow me.
Okay, I would have to discuss that and then find out if they're willing to get involved with doing all that. I just thought it might be cleaner if.
They would get a certified, basically they're gonna get a certified letter that says they're a budding landowner and that they have this offer, and then if they say yes, and then to protect both of you, like if you put it into your purchase agreement, that they're gonna get the land and you're essentially gonna pay them an additional $25,000, then it's kind of a push, but that's how it would work out.
Yeah, I just don't know if they'd take that on or not, so. And so that's why my question was, if it were tabled or if a date of later on were put in there, then I would be the homeowner and I could just.
We can put whatever date we want on that, so we can just wait until after his agreement.
If that's kosher, I don't know.
Yeah, and I think that's what John is saying, is that.
Process once you've closed, but there's just a little bit of risk to you then that, I mean, I'm assuming the town's gonna stand behind it, to the 25,000, so.
I'm not feeling a lot of risk. I think that, and I think that makes it,
I mean, I feel comfortable they would, so.
yeah, I'm not, if I had to, but I'm not super comfortable approaching the homeowner that's trying to.
So
And
can we just, so
they've never once asked us to purchase that piece of property anymore, you know, they've never.
so if we just put 30 days out from today, that would be acceptable, John, on this line, correct?
And so then I would be the one that got the letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, once you,
Yeah.
can we wait to send out the letter until Dave gets it bought?
I mean, you could, and then Dave's the budding landowner at that point.
Right, that's what I said. So
Yeah.
if we don't act on this and wait for Dave to get it bought, then act on it. So we really probably don't even, we probably want to table it and not act on it tonight and just let Dave get it bought and then.
But I think what John was saying is if we put 30 days out from, on that bottom line there, to me, that seems cleaner. To put the date there and just wait until he's the owner of it. Because if you do it the other way, you're still gonna have to contact them within.
Not if you table that resolution, because we haven't even,
But we've already passed it, didn't we?
now we passed an ordinance so that we can raise the 25,000 to be able to.
Here would be my fear if we do this. Here's my fear. I'm just saying that this is a concern. So if we go ahead and move on this. It's public, this is public.
Right.
So if somebody comes in here and say, hey, I'll give you $30,000 for it.
Exactly, that's my fear too, right?
Then now Dave's in
Okay.
this, now Dave's in this mad rush.
Right, that makes.
But if we just table it until he gets it bought,
And then let him come back to us and then we.
I
Then we
mean,
get
that's all formalities,
Yeah,
because that's just, I mean, we were gonna have to have that anyways to be able to dispose of that property, so it can.
so if we table it, it's really not for sale.
correct.
Yeah, if Dave is willing to wait, then that's the cleanest thing to do.
Yeah,
Because then he can accept the offer. You know what your offering price is gonna be, he's willing to pay it. There's no chance of anybody else jumping in. If he's willing to take the risk that something could change, but I don't see that happening.
I was confused on that part, so.
I mean, we've approved that just so we could raise it, get to
Right,
this
right.
point, but if we table this one, it's truly not for sale.
So then I'm
You haven't
comfortable
taken any
taking.
action.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's not even for sale.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to do is to table it, John, so it's not for sale. Let Dave get his home purchased and then when he notifies us he's got that done, then I'm assuming we can move on this very quickly.
Yes, I would agree if Dave's willing. I think that's a smoother situation than introducing another party to it that could screw something up.
Right. I agree with that.
All right, thanks, John.
Okay, no problem. I'll be around if you need something else.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Okay. So do we have to make a motion to table this? We just
Well,
have.
just take no action on it.
No action.
No action.
So
No, I think that.
works for you, so I think, in all honesty, just as soon as you get that ink, then let us know, let Chris know, and we could actually have a special meeting. I mean, it would take a whopping 10 minutes,
Okay.
and then just get it done, and
Yeah, I think everybody's in agreement. Of course, I can't speak for Donnie, but with the four of us, I think we're all in agreement. We'd like to see the board purchase that property. So it would be a very quick process to approve that resolution.
okay.
We're good with that. Any other pressing matters that we had to take care of, like through votes tonight? I don't think.
Not with that, but I do have something really quick. So we had just some short communications with Chris in regards to the pool car. I think that probably justifies a conversation of what we're going to do with it now going forward, and
What car?
the pool car,
The estate.
the Ford Escape.
So what?
Okay, so it had been at Bryce and Jeff's in Newcastle, and they told me what the issue was, but they said they were unable to fix it, and it needed a special computer programming module done, so I took it to the Ford dealership in Richmond. They gave me the quote, which I presented you guys with, and Donnie came in and talked to me, and he said, hey, let's see if we could, he called Emery down at County Tire in Cambridge City, and they seemed to think they could do it for quite a bit less. So the car was towed to County Tire.
So, but the electronic work, the computer work can only be done by Ford.
That's how I understood it from what Bryce and Jeff told me already.
Did County Tire, did they think that they could do?
I've not had any conversations with them since they've had the car. In fact, I don't even know if they've looked at it, because they got it, they would have got it on Monday afternoon.
Did County Tire happen to say how much they were going to charge for that service? How about that?
I've not had any conversation with them. So,
You know what Donnie's conversation with them was of how much that was gonna be roughly?
so I think they were thinking in terms of probably about $1,000 cheaper.
So about $3,000 then.
So, okay.
Ish.
So the steering was $3,200. I think they were somewhere $1,000 less than that. There was an oil leak on the car too that the Ford dealership found. That's not repairing that. It's a minor oil leak, which, I mean, you could drive with it leaking oil, but yeah.
My concern is that, at least according to the VIN number in the Kelly Blue Book, value was in between private party ranges, $4,290 to $4,915. And we're gonna drop 3,000 into it. To me, I don't think that's a wise choice. If it was my vehicle, and my car was worth $4,000, I'm not gonna put 3,000 into it.
So why don't we just have Chris contact Emery and tell him that we would like an estimate before they repair it, so we just know where we're at.
I think that makes a little bit more sense instead of just taking it down there and saying repair it and hope for the best.
Yeah. Especially when we are finding a comparable car with a lot less mileage for not a whole lot more than what we would be spending.
That doesn't have an accident.
Correct, that has to have it on it, significant front end accidents. Okay.
And I know, some of the discussions that we've had is that, we held off on any capital expenses. And I feel that I think that other car was what, $7,000, $6,900
or something like that.
$7,000. I don't even know if that meets the threshold for a capital expense one. And the only vehicle or the only capital expense that was presented to us for the 2026 budget was a police vehicle, which was going to be in I can't remember what the presentation was, like 60 some $1,000. And, our conversation with Keith was, his concern was that the Durango was getting to the point of no return. And we said, hey, let's try to push through with the Durango and hope for the best. I know they've had some issues with it recently. And then, I think a couple months ago, you had asked about that pool car anyway. And our response to you was no, because of that exact reason, was because of our, because of those expenses, tried not to spend it. And we asked, let's try to keep it down the road and hope for the best. Well, unfortunately, we're now presented with, we didn't get the best, unfortunately. And, I know that car isn't used by just one employee. It's used by probably five.
That's around by a lot of people.
And I would assume that vehicle is not just used by just employees in the office. It's by multiple departments, the water department, the cemetery, electric. I assume it's used at some point by all of those.
Cemetery building inspector, Julia, she drives to the bank. A lot of times if there's an out of town training, I'll usually let the guys drive my truck because it's the newest vehicle around and I feel the best about them driving to Evansville or Fort Wayne or Lafayette or, that kind of thing. In that case, I'm driving the car. So,
And from my impressions that I've gotten from you is that we don't have another vehicle just sitting around that can be used.
I've tried to think how we could possibly rearrange the vehicles and, especially with summer help coming in real soon here, it would just be, it'd be a fiasco, I think, so.
So with this vehicle being down, as our office staff, what vehicle have they been using when they've needed it?
My truck or their personal vehicles, I think Tom's been using his personal truck most of the
The
time.
bank, I can go here.
Right. So, and that's my concern. I think we've already taken a stance on this before about employees using their own personal car. If Julie's using her personal car and gets T-boned at an intersection and she's on, Hagerstown business, if, I don't know what your car's worth, but let's say it's worth $70,000 versus some $7,000 car, it's a much different thing. And if I was the employee that got T-boned, I'd be coming to my employer and saying, I was driving for you.
Yeah.
My car that's worth $60,000, that's a you problem. And I think that is a terrible decision of the town to say, make their employees drive their own personal cars for.
Well, I think it gets into a safety concern too, especially if you have, I'm out the 2 mile frame some, but Tom is way more than I am. And if he's in his personal vehicle and pulls back a country lane and, especially with some of the stuff that's been going on nowadays, you're seeing on Facebook and everything.
Correct.
It's just a dangerous situation for him.
And I think if I recall correctly, shortly after the first of the year, I think that was a complaint that was brought up, was that a personal vehicle was being used for the building commissioner, and people were saying that it was unidentifiable and that made them nervous, and we made it very clear that wasn't going to be happening again. But now we're presented with this, and now we're saying, well, now he's going to have to drive his personal car. That does not make sense to me. So
I think it was suggested that we let Nate use the mule out of the cemetery, but even still, trying to level graves and hauling off grave decorations and, if it's raining and it's not an ideal situation.
And I would assume the grave decorations probably fill up the mule fairly quick.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Or even try to level a grave and getting a load of dirt, you're only gonna be able to get a couple bushels on a mule versus a truck bed full, so, yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what the other counselors feel, but I just feel that the longer we wait, the longer that we allow our employees to drive their personal cars, I think we're waiting for something bad to happen. That's increasing the town's liability, and I'm not for that.
When did we acquire that?
That's
Is that a new purchase or was that?
No, it was used and it was, I think in 2020 or 2021, and we got a really good deal on it. It was like $6,500 or $7,000 when we bought it. So we got a very good deal on it.
So I don't even know if putting $2,000.
See, that's one of those things where you almost wonder at what point do you want to cut your losses before a $6,000 vehicle becomes a $12,000 vehicle, it's.
On a rough scale, does anyone know how much we've put? I mean, because I know it was in the accident, how much have we put into it within the last couple of years?
outside of the accident?
Yeah,
or-
well, no, with it, including
the
all of that,
accident?
yeah, I mean, how much money have we put into
Probably.
Accident when it costs.
the insurance? right?
Yeah.
No, actually, we paid for it out of pocket, because it was like $2,300. And our insurance policy would have been $1,000 deductible, so we just went ahead and paid for it rather than affecting our insurance. So that plus routine maintenance like tires and that kind of thing, probably about $3,000. So, yeah,
To me, I don't know, to me, this is a brainless decision.
yeah.
This is easy. I don't think that car is worth putting $2,000 in it. That's
My
my,
dad
that's my
say
stance.
at some point, excuse me, guys. My dad always used to say, at some point you start throwing good money to the bad.
Hmm.
And if we dumped $3,000 into that car and then the transmission goes out of it in June, you know, that's just $3,000 that we wasted.
Which to be honest with you, there is a shuddering problem when you're driving and it does feel like that could be, you know, I know you've driven it before, Dylan, I don't, it's
It's not the best.
it's not the best, yeah.
Definitely not the best. And it's not like we're, where I think, some were concerned, we don't want Keith upset, the police chief upset because we said no to his car, but we're buying this other vehicle. I think the distinct difference, in this case is
So,
potentially a $7,000 vehicle.
definitely.
And it's a need. This isn't a want. And I think our police chief would be, very reasonable and understanding to that.
Well, we told Keith too, I mean, if the Durango went down.
Correct.
We told him if the Durango went down, we wasn't gonna throw a bunch of money in
Correct.
that either, and, we would go ahead. So, it's really,
So do you want, I'll call Bounty County Tire tomorrow and I'll see if, try to pinpoint, exactly where do you think we're at on that? And, yep, I think that's, like the Ford dealership found the oil leak and I'm questioning the transmission myself, because I think it's on the original transmission, has about 100, I think it's 134,000 miles on it right now. So, there are things like that you start questioning.
So, I mean, do we put a dollar sign on it and say, this is where we stop at? Or do we wait to see what comes in? Because, the longer we wait, again, I think we're continuing to open up our liability for our staff, and I'm not a fan of that.
surely Emery could give us, some. It doesn't matter to me, surely Emery could give us some type of estimate. In a day or two, a day, if we wanna do that. But yeah, I don't think you wanna throw a lot of money at it. We've already got a towing cost that.
Or do we say, we're not gonna throw any money at it, toss it up for an auction and get a couple $100 and allow him to purchase the used car that he was looking at, or at least give Chris permission to at least look for a used car. It doesn't have to be that other one, but I don't know.
Chris, what do you think?
Which Chris?
You,
Town council, Chris.
I can't see putting any more money into that car that's just gonna continue to have issues. That's just my 2 cents. I did voice my concern that I was, I don't wanna make Keith mad. But I do think this is different. This really isn't a capital improvement thing. This isn't, to me, capital improvements are more things that you want to expand on. And like Dylan said, this is kind of a need. It's not really anything that we want to do. That was accomplished years ago when that car was bought. And it's had a pretty good service life, but it's probably time to replace it.
and I think we also got the $15,000 from the truck that we sold to Cambridge City,
From the bucket truck.
which that was going into our electric fund, right? So I don't know. I just don't think we should just throw any more money at this car. I understand our thinking of trying to save money, trying to do all these things, and I think we've done a good job at that. But in my opinion, this is a little bit, this isn't like we're, taking money and lighting it on fire. This is something that our employees use on a daily basis, and not one employee, it's a multitude of employees. So I guess with all that said, what my motion is going to be is that, to give Chris, authorization to search for a replacement vehicle, with a max value of, or a max sale price of, we'll do $10,000. That's my motion.
And then we're just gonna pick this car up and bring it back then?
Yeah.
I can second that.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded, yet moving forward, we go ahead and return the vehicle to our possession. And that we will allow Chris to begin the search for a replacement, the value not to exceed $10,000.
Okay.
That,
Chris, you can't vote, but does that sound okay to you?
Yeah, maybe put a stipulation in there that any proceeds we get from selling the current car be applied to the new one.
Yeah.
Does that make,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
Yeah.
that would, yeah.
Okay.
Properly moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
And that's all I have.
Anything else from the president, at least for this discussion?
Yeah, I did send out that email about, with, a group of people were interested in placing large pink, bows on our light poles for a girl that has, cancer that's their Hagerstown residents and she goes to our school. And, I'm not least bit opposed to the idea, but I do think we need to set some kind of, limits as far as we've been very picky about people doing anything with our poles just because we're trying to protect them. They're such an expensive investment. And, I think we need to, I think, we just don't have any kind of rules in place for it. I think it's something that needs probably for council approval, or at least my approval, to do that. And then we need to set some stipulations as far as, is it going to, what height are they gonna be at? If they're too low, we're gonna have people messing around with them. If they're too high, they'll probably be blowing off all the time, and our electrical guys will be having to put them back on.
How do they wanna attach it?
See, that's the thing. I wouldn't want like wire or anything that would, rub the finish off of the poles. It would probably have to be some sort of a floral wire or something fairly heavy duty though,
I'm a floral wire, do the same thing.
Floral wire could possibly, yeah.
If they're ribbons, why can't they just tie them?
Tie the ribbons on it, yeah. If they would stay out, that would be, yeah.
And I agree with Chris. I think, we do have to be careful. But I think in this type of, circumstance, I think seeing a town, a group of people, rally behind a child, I think that would, my opinion, meets a threshold of some sort, I would think. And from my understanding, at least this weekend at the park, I think they're having a pretty big, I think it's like a fundraising event, but they're having all sorts of stuff this weekend. So if we didn't want to do, all the poles through town, so we have light poles down through all there, maybe
Like out to the park.
maybe
And-
just.
Now, I know they're in the process of raising funds to do it because each ribbon is probably gonna be $15 or $20 to get a nice big ribbon.
Okay.
And so they are still in the fundraising phase. So, as far as I know you had discussed maybe a time period to do it, because otherwise is it going to be something that gets put up and then it's just indefinite?
Right, and at what point do you say,
It's interfering with Christmas decorator, so
Yeah. The other thing, Chris.
Uh-huh.
Let's say we do, and I agree with what Dylan said. I think we need to, I know the family. I think the town should show some support. But then, let's say the cheerleaders come and they want to tie purple ribbons around the light poles downtown for Spirit Week in the fall and for homecoming football game. I think that could be we could address those on a case by case basis instead of just setting precedent and allowing anybody to start hanging stuff, because I don't want to get it where like it used to be where people were putting garage sale signs and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
How are the banners hung? is there a top pole and a bottom
Yeah,
pole?
Yeah, there is.
Could actually the ribbon be attached to the bottom pole? And not even,
And bottom pole and facing the street as opposed to facing the sidewalk, it probably could be.
so it's not actually, it's not actually on the
I
pole.
understand what you're saying.
It's on
Yeah.
the poles that hold the banners.
Yeah, and it gives it some a way that it's not gonna slide down the pole or, yeah.
I know
That's a good
our people would have to put them on.
Our people would, and I don't think they would mind it. What happens, it seems like in the past, when they start falling down or when the flags fall down, which they do, then that's when people get irate and they come in, then it almost becomes problematic sometimes because it's like a daily occurrence then. But you know, but I think, like Dylan's saying, if we set a time period, even if it's gonna be 1 month or 2 weeks or whatever, I think that's manageable. It's not like, 6 months or a year, you know?
I think if we hang them off of the banner post, then down the road, nobody can come and hang anything on the post because we never set that precedent.
Mhm.
They come off the banner post. The only way you're gonna hook anything to the banner post is through our trucks.
Mhm.
So we can kind of control that issue. So I don't have a problem. If you think you can see a way to hang them to that banner post, because I gotta think that's a more durable thing that won't scratch as bad than.
Correct. It probably would be. Yeah, I do understand what you're saying.
And then, I don't know, I gotta think after the wind and the rain, that after a month, they're not gonna look very good, would they? Thanks.
Probably be like a decoration on the cemetery after a month or two.
I would think 30 days and move on.
I like the idea of the light poles going out to the park. I think that'd be cool. That'd be really neat too. Or I mean downtown and on out there. I think that would be cool.
'Cause I think, my dear brother, I think plays ball as well. So I mean, it's gonna be something that's gonna be seen by the family
Right.
consistently.
I think he co-coaches with Sean Murphy, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our team.
Oh, that's your team. Okay, all right.
Well, to a tangent to that, I know, you know, the banners that we have down now, they're for the 250th, right? For the-
Correct.
They make all types of those, you know, there's not to say anything that in the future, you can't get ones that have like the traditional pink
Mhm.
ribbons and, you know, we do that for like, you know, October when it's that, or get purple and gold. I mean, there's, you know, drive through any small town in America, there's all kinds of those types of banners that are out there, you know, what King City does, the veteran maps, I mean.
And we do have additional banner, we got the banner on for every pulling down, so we have 52, 54, whatever that number is, of those, if we ever wanted to put those up on other poles, so, yeah.
And I think the last thing, just for the special meeting, but water line project, and I know they're putting. Everything's tied in, we're now in.
Everything's tied in, yeah, it's all clean up and repairing the streets and people's yards, and, we are noticing a substantial drop in the amount of water we're pumping, which is awesome. I mean, it's gone down significantly. So I'll have the exact numbers for you at the council meeting, but we're almost in the normal range. We're very close for the normal water loss range. So, yeah,
That's great, though, you know, that fast of a turnaround that we can,
because we were in
Show what,
very bad shape. So, yeah.
is doing. Yeah. Anything else for special meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Properly moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Very good. So